Many of us tuned in to see the interview between Shannon Sharpe and Katt Williams, and he had a lot to say during this interview. He did not hold back, and he called out a lot of big-time comedians like Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer. And the funny thing is, even though most of the people he called out responded to him, none of them denied his claims. So while Katt and Shannon have both gotten an outpouring of support and praise for this interview, some people had a problem with him. There were some people who did not take a liking to Shannon's interviewing style. Some even claiming that a journalist would have conducted the interview in a better way. So I studied journalism in my undergrad, and a part of that was interviewing a plethora of college athletes, interviewing random people I met on the street. You name it, I did it. And I don't feel like this style of interviewing would have worked well with Katt Williams. Journalism interviewing is very cookie cutter, and there are a code of ethics and guidelines that you must abide to and stick with, and you can't really go outside of those lines. And Katt Williams even stated at the beginning of the interview that he chose to go on Club Shay Shay because of his interviewing style. Katt even said that he liked that his guests, Shannon's guests on the show, felt safe enough to tell the truth. Now, whose truth? Well, Katt's truth can be backed by receipts. Shannon has never stated that he is a journalist or trying to be one. He has created a cigar lounge type of vibe where he can have conversations. And even though some people might find an issue with that style of interviewing, it allowed Katt Williams a space to really get some things off his chest. Katt Williams doesn't take me as a kind of man to do things impulsively, and there was definitely some intention behind going on Shannon's platform to speak his truth. He could have picked any platform, but he picked Shannon's. Shannon even said on Nightcap with Ocho Cinco that this interview was a year in the making. I think above all else, some people felt a type of way that he landed Katt Williams, that this was an incredibly successful interview that will attract even more attention to his platform. If his interview style wasn't effective, he wouldn't have landed an interview with Katt Williams. For example, this interview would not have gone well with someone like Oprah. I think one of the issues I've always had with Oprah's interview style is she doesn't let her guests speak. She's always cutting off her guests and tends to show great bias with some of the guests. You can definitely tell who Oprah likes and who she doesn't. For example, her interviews with Eckhart Tolle and Toni Braxton. The fact that she has broken the code of ethics so many times during her career, especially with someone like Monique. And Oprah controls the interview in a way that benefits her and not the guests she's interviewing. Now, we can't compare Shannon to Oprah, but it's just one example of a style of interviewing that wouldn't work. If you are conducting an interview and people either get to know the guest better or learn something by the end of it, then you have done a good job. If you can get the person you're interviewing to talk for hours, then you're doing a good job. It makes me wonder if those hating actually watch the interview or just the clips being shared on Instagram and TikTok. Do I think who he is has helped him to get certain interviews? 100%. But he still has to conduct an actual interview. The work is not done once the celebrity sits on the couch. Now, do I think he's the best interviewer in the entire world? No, but this man can definitely brag about maybe having the most successful interview of 2024. So obviously his style of questioning definitely works. On Nightcap, he even said that Katt Williams went on a rant for 30 minutes before he could even ask a question. And he could have definitely interrupted, but those rants had some juicy information in them, and he let him say what he had to say. When I was studying journalism, they referenced someone like Katt Williams as interviewing gold because people like him basically do the job for you. You ask one question and they go off on a tangent, and you do have to reel them back in eventually, but not too soon because you might miss out on something really good. Many people are discussing what they would have done in Shannon's place, but unless you actually have interviewed people, you really don't know how much of a process it can be, even if you prepare yourself. This man got an interview that nobody was necessarily asking for, but needed. Shannon's interview style was effective, and it is unfair to compare him to a journalist. We can't hold him to that standard. He never claimed to be one, and he started this platform to learn about various celebrities in a relaxed setting. Nothing about that screams journalist. For example, he drinks with his guests. That is not something you do in journalism. People might be thinking of someone they feel like would have been able to conduct this interview better than Shannon, but I bet they wouldn't have been able to land Katt Williams. Katt moves to the beat of his own drum, and he picked Shannon Sharpe for a reason. And obviously, it worked because this interview was not only successful, but so many people are listening to his truth and everything he has to say. So, in my opinion, everything that needed to be accomplished got accomplished. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe. See you soon.